I heard people just not happy about those high rates in Detroit. In fact, a lot of people just don't get insurance because of that.
That's right. It has really been a problem for decades. So a few weeks ago, Mayor Mike Duggan unveiled a proposal to help curb rates for Detroiters.
He calls this the D insurance, and it would alter just how much auto insurance insurers pay to cover injured drivers. The mayor's proposal would provide $250,000 for catastrophic medical coverage at the hospital following an accident. After
that hospital stay, the first $25,000 of personal injury protection coverage would be paid by your auto insurer.
Any costs beyond and above that would fall into the hands of a driver's health insurance plan.
The mayor said Detroiters would still have the option of purchasing traditional no-fault policies, and he says that costs an average of $3,400 per policy.
The mayor said D insurance could save drivers 25 to 33% per year, which he insists would lead to an average savings of about $1,000 a year.
Joining us now is Butch Hollowell, Corporation Counsel for the City of Detroit. Mr. Hollowell, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. Why is this, does the mayor believe, the right way to tackle the problem of insurance rates in the city?
Well, look, we are facing a crisis. Right now, Detroiters pay on average of $3,400 a year for a car insurance versus $1,700 in the suburbs. We pay the highest rate of car insurance in the United States, and it's become unaffordable. And remember that this is mandated by the state. This is coverage that you're required by the No Fault Act to buy. So we're saying this law has set up two classes of drivers. People who can afford to pay for policies for this unlimited coverage, which No Fault requires you to have, and everybody else. And 50 to 60% of Detroiters don't buy insurance because it's become so unaffordable. So the mayor has put forth a plan called D-Insurance, which would allow us to control the costs, particularly on the health care side, to make insurance more affordable for all Detroiters.
Now, Mr. Hollowell, some people are concerned about this because it does this cap on the catastrophic care, which is the same thing that's happening statewide in Lansing that's got people in an uproar. So what's your response to that?
Well, there is always an uproar anytime you try to do something significant, particularly as it relates to auto insurance, because there's a lobbyist for the hospitals, a lobbyist for the trial lawyers, a lobbyist for the healthcare providers, but there's no lobbyist for the ordinary driver. And what we're saying is that we would provide coverage better than all but 4 states in this D-Insurance plan. And what it would do is allow us to, again, put some controls on the costs of health insurance after you leave the emergency room, and then after that, $25,000 more kicks in. After that, then your health insurance kicks in.
And what about
A lot of people
what about those people who don't have health insurance? I know it's mandatory under Obamacare, but some just choose to pay the fine and don't have it. So in those cases, what would happen?
What we know is that most Detroiters do have health insurance. Just last year alone, 110,000 Detroiters signed up either through Obamacare or through Healthy Choice. And we do know that now most people are covered. What our key goal here is to make sure that people have access to affordable car insurance, because you can't get to your job, you can't get to school. It's creating 2 classes of citizens. And when you look at the fact that 60% are driving without insurance, that tells you we really need to take some action. You are being charged again twice, because you have to buy health insurance, as you just said, and you have to buy this no-fault coverage. So it's really double coverage. It's not needed, and this will save the average Detroiter about $1,000 a year.
You got this law of unintended consequence, though, with this plan right here. Is there a danger that health insurance rates are going to suddenly start going up on people because the health insurers are going to sit there and say, we're going to have to fill this gap, we're going to have to pay for it?
I think the opposite is true. What this will do is to lift the tide of all boats. Today, when you have 60% of the city, or 50 to 60% that are driving without insurance, there's no coverage in place today, 0. And so what this does is say that, we're going to have more people that are in the pool, and the more people that are buying insurance means you can spread the risk among the many so that the few aren't disproportionately inconvenienced. So it should lower the rates for all kinds of coverages.
Where does this plan go from here? It needs legislative approval, doesn't it? And what are you hopeful that we'll get it?
We're very hopeful. Senate Bill 288 has already been introduced. We are working with the leadership in Lansing, the governor's office, the House, and the Senate. We're trying to build consensus around this. We know that it's a tough fight, but it's a fight worth having, because if you do not have car insurance, it limits your entire options. And because it's mandatory, you have to sometimes choose between whether to pay the groceries and the rent and your car insurance, and that's just unfair. We have to address this crisis in auto insurance.
And we saw the mayor out addressing it today. Is he going to be the one out in front pushing this thing, and how hard is he pushing?
He's pushing as hard as he can. You know, when he campaigned, he made this one of the centerpieces of his platform. And as mayor, he's indicated that this has to get done. So we're going to work as hard as we can in the hallways in Lansing and meet with community groups throughout Detroit and across the state so that we can get this passed and bring rate relief that's really needed by all Detroiters.
Butch Hollowell, Corporation Counsel for the City of Detroit, we thank you so much for your time today.
Still ahead here.